I guess we can say happy holidays, right?
Happy holidays. Although this will be out after the holidays, but it's okay. So
Yeah.
we can say like Happy New Year, Happy 2026. I hope everyone has some wonderful goals that they probably won't reach. I don't know. Do you make resolutions?
No. Well, that's not true. I make resolutions at any time of year. It doesn't have anything to do with the beginning of the year. The beginning of the year is an arbitrary moment. There's nothing
Right.
about that makes me want to do something new. But
Right.
I've lost a huge amount of weight because I set a resolution or I decided to work on getting a new job or new career, those kind of things. But it had nothing to do with January 1st. What about you?
I kind of feel the same way, but I also see it as more of a reminder to set an intention or just a refresher for things I already was planning on doing. And I also try to eat a little healthier because I feel like over the holidays we were just bombarded with very unhealthy foods. So I see it as like a reset in that regard. I'm hoping 2026 is a great year for everybody.
Okay, me too. I'm not expecting it to be, but I hope that it will be.
No, I feel like every year I'm like, this is my year. And
Yeah.
then, although 2025 was pretty decent for me, so we'll see.
Years ago, I saw a YouTube video where the person was talking about how they had a vision that 2020 was going to be the year that we all reach like a higher plane of existence or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, oh, you are not psychic.
Yeah,
You
I know.
completely
I
misread that
thought
one.
I kept saying 2020 was my year as well because it was. I thought my divorce was underway and that I was starting this new life, and then nope, I got locked down with my ex-husband. So yeah, that wasn't fun. But anywho,
Yeah, so today we're here to talk about red flags and green flags.
red flags.
I see this come up on dating profiles probably more than any other thing.
It's popular.
It seems like, because either people will have that prompt on Hinge that says, what are your red flags or green flags, or it's something along those lines, or they'll just straight list them on their profile. So they'll say
Right.
things like, if you don't have a job, don't bother contacting me. If you're not over 6 feet, keep
Yeah.
moving. Things like that.
Yeah. Such a terrible way to start off being introduced to someone. Here's all these negative things. I hate that.
I don't look at men's profiles, so I don't know what men do. But I assume that men probably don't do that as much.
Oh no, they do.
Do they? Okay.
I follow this lady that does the burned haystack method, which is where you basically block anyone. As soon as you see something like that, you block their profile because it's different. She's a language expert and she talks about, I forget what she calls them, but anytime you see something like threatening like that, or like if you don't do this, then this, that's automatic block that person. And the reason why she says block them is because otherwise the algorithm will keep feeding you that person, like recycling that person. So you have to kind of block them so that you don't get them again.
Okay.
But anywho, that's a definite no. So for the guys, I remember them saying, because it's been a little while, but if you don't answer me back within a day, I'm not talking to you. Or just know going in, I'm not taking you on a date and paying for your dinner until I know. Or there's this one guy, he keeps coming up on the, are you dating the same guy? I will only do house dates on the first date. I'm not wasting money. And everyone's
Wow.
like, why would you go to a stranger's house on your first date? That is insane.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that are like, if you post yourself on social media all the time, then no. Or if you talk about pronouns, then it's just, it's
I like this
really
guy voice that you have. This,
Yeah.
The impression of
it
your
was
guy
a
voice.
bro. But that's how I imagine they speak. Yeah, guys actually do that a lot. The whole threatening vibe of, well, if you don't do this or you don't do that.
I mean, my rough napkin math that is totally made up and not in any way based in fact is that probably 60 to 70% of women have what they don't want as the beginning of their profile, if it's not the entire profile. It's always just a list of, I don't want this. If you do that, don't bother. So I think the red flags thing is just extremely prevalent. I think we're starting off talking about red flags and then we'll get to the green flags after. My list of red flags is probably like 4 to 5 times as long as my list of green flags.
Same. I have a lot of red flags, but for me, because I feel like a lot of things are superficial, and to me, those are more preferences or pet peeves. I think we mess this up a little bit because I think sometimes people say, oh, it's a red flag if whatever. But really, that's a nuisance or something that's not preferable. But to me, a red flag is like you're possibly in danger. Like, to me, a red flag is this could end really badly if you stick with this person because they are not healthy for you. They're toxic. So mine are kind of deeper level.
Yeah. Mine are extremely shallow.
Okay, well, that works out though.
Yeah. Only because I think the nature of online dating has become such a numbers game where you're sifting through profiles at such a rapid pace
Right.
that you kind of develop this own internal algorithm that helps you exclude duds. And
Right.
so, and especially when you've been dating as long as I have, unfortunately, you kind of can see the end before it gets there because you can see the markers that are leading to that end. So I don't know that I put that extremely well, but I just think it's made me more sensitive to things at the beginning that probably 10 years ago I would have been like, whatever, it's not a big deal.
Right.
So anyway, you want to kick us off with your first red flag? We'll start with the profound and then we'll bounce to the shallow.
Okay. So now obviously you'd have to meet the person first. So this isn't necessarily a red flag on the app before you meet them, but I feel like turn it inward. If you don't feel good around this person, you feel uneasy, you have like a weird. Our intuition is usually pretty correct, at least for me, if you're in tune with yourself. And if you feel uneasy around someone, you don't feel like you're safe to be yourself, or you just get a bad vibe from the person, it's probably valid. So that's my first red flag is how you feel around them.
Yeah.
And if you're not comfortable, it's probably not going to work.
See, my intuition is horrible. I have no ability to discern if someone is a threat to me or not. But also, I think it probably differs for men versus women, where I'm not really usually concerned about my physical safety.
Right.
It's more just, is this person going to treat me well or whatever? And that historically has been a very difficult thing for me to parse out, especially early on. So I'm always sort of jealous of those people who can, or I should say, I admire those people who have good intuition because I just don't. I think that's a good one. I think that's a very reasonable thing for any person to have in mind, to kind of trust your gut. And I also think it's interesting that most dates we are filling ourselves with alcohol, which
Right.
his entire purpose is to remove that ability to discern whether or not you're making a good decision. So
Right.
kind of ironic.
Well, that's why they say a lot of times, like, go for coffee or something that doesn't involve alcohol, so you're not influenced either way.
Yeah. On the topic of alcohol, just a brief aside. I don't know if you know Scott Galloway. He's a professor from NYU originally who has kind of gained this big following as like a moderate, slightly left of center influencer type guy. And he has a couple of podcasts, one with Kara Swisher and one with other people. Anyway, he has been focusing on the impact that society has had on young men for the last couple of decades, where now young men are feeling more isolated and they're choosing not to be in relationships and they're choosing not to have kids as often, that they kind of just end up playing video games and smoking pot and
Yeah.
hanging out by themselves.
And there's very low testosterone as well,
Right.
which is a problem.
Sperm counts are going down. Like
Yes.
there's kind of just a crisis among young men in a way.
Right.
Now, I know there's a lot of women out there screaming like, who cares? Men are dumb. Okay, sure. But Scott Galloway's thing, he's gone viral a couple of times because he's had this sort of unusual thought, which is that as people are drinking less now, because it's more expensive and because we realize that it's a poison that is
Yes.
endangering our lives and causing cancer, all that kind of thing. He has kind of gone the other way and said that young people should drink more because it allows them to socialize. It's an excuse. It's a social lubricant. And I don't necessarily think he means like drink to the point of stupidity,
Right.
but just like don't freak out about drinking because it allows people to come together at bars and will kind of restore that social contract that's been broken. It's kind of interesting because it's sort of like a boomery take on that, where, you know, our parents made bad decisions with alcohol
Yeah.
for generations. Why should you be any different?
Yeah. Well, it's also, I guess this is a fine time to say that that can be also a red flag. Like if you're on a date with someone and they're throwing back, like it's your first time meeting them, and this has happened to me, they're throwing back 5, 6, 7 drinks
Yeah.
in 2 hours, that gives you pause.
That should give you more than pause. That should give
Right.
you, I'd like a check, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the number is, but I think you can kind of tell when the person is like pounding it and they want the next one right away and
Yeah.
there's no pacing, then for sure it's a problem.
Right. But what's one of your red flags, your superficial red flag?
Yeah, my giantly superficial red flag. The first one for me is horse girls. Will not date a horse girl.
Horse girls? Like
horse
they're
girls.
into horses.
Like they're into horses.
Why? That's a weird. I've never heard that before in my life. Like
Really?
I've never heard anyone say that they won't date a horse girl. Why?
I was married to a horse girl.
You were.
Yeah. For 11 years.
Oh.
And the thing about horse girls is, I mean, there's a number of things about it, right? So one, it's extremely expensive.
Yes, it is, because a couple of my students are horse girls.
Yeah. They will pour money. You know, like owning a pet is expensive, right? A cat or a dog. Owning a horse is like 20 times that.
Yes.
And not only do you have to pay for their medical expenses, which are astronomical because the vet has to come to you.
Right.
They also have to deal with like grooming, getting them shoed, getting them their hay, which is just, again, exorbitant. Like you cannot imagine the cost of hay.
Wow.
So I was a pathetic little social worker married to another social worker who had a horse obsession. And we each made, I think, $25,000 a year. And we were, at the very least, we had the help of her parents who had a field and everything so they could house the horses. And we like built a barn for them and all this kind of stuff. But the amount of food that you have to pay for, and then like in the winter when there is no hay and you have to supplement with oats and all this kind of stuff, the money just never stops going out the door for the horses.
Yeah,
it is
wow.
insane. And the other thing about it is that they are obsessed with them. It's not just like, oh, you have a dog and, you know, the dog is your best friend or whatever.
Right.
Like every conversation leads back to the horse.
Oh.
No matter what.
Yeah, I don't think I'd like that.
It's bananas. You come home from a hard day at work and you're like, man, it was really tough today. And she'd be like, oh, my horse Skippy did something like that too. And I'm like, me and Skippy do not have that much in common. So yeah, it's a whole big thing where it consumes your life.
Yeah, I never knew that about it. I never knew that you were like a horse dad.
Well, I mean, I didn't have that much interest in them. I tried to be supportive, so I would go riding with her sometimes.
Oh, look at that. I didn't know you rode horses.
Yeah, for a long time.
Finding out so many new things about you through this podcast.
But, I mean, I definitely viewed it differently than she did, where I just like to get on the horse and go. She wanted me to build a whole relationship with the horse. It was a very, like, hippy-dippy way of riding, which is like, you have to become friends with the horse before you can ride.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just find that a little funny.
I found it exhausting because it was like, you have to do, which I understand. Like, the more I learned about it, I was like, I get it. You want to build the relationship. And so.
Well, like trust, obviously.
Yeah. Right. So you have to do like all these ground games with them. And like, you have to learn all the signals and watch for their stuff. And you have to groom them. So you're brushing them and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They smell so bad.
Oh, yeah. The smell. I don't know if I could do that. Maybe I shouldn't talk because I'm kind of like that with my car. Ringo, with my little Ringo, I do feel like I have a relationship with Ringo. Like, I know how to handle Ringo. I get very uneasy when other people are with Ringo,
Yeah.
So maybe it's not that weird.
I mean, this is the thing is like, I don't mean to judge it. Right. And I think with a lot of these red flags, the thing to keep in mind is that they are my red flags, my personal ones. I don't think that they can be broadened out to like, no one should date a horse girl, right? If you're a country dude who loves going out with your truck or whatever and hanging out with the horses all day, mazel tov. Like, go, great, do your thing.
Right.
It's not for me, is what I learned. And so a lot of these, I just want to be careful not to generalize. These are for me.
So that's why when I was making my list of red flags, I did make general ones that like everyone that are kind of universal because again, like you said, there are things that are specific to me, but I was kind of thinking of what would be applicable to most of the public. So
gotcha.
So my next one is,
I just think it's interesting. We're seeing how you are thoughtful and deep and I am shallow and selfish.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that. But anywho.
Your next one.
Okay, so my next one is bad communication skills. A bad communicator, especially if they shut down when they're avoidant, they go a long time without contacting you, they're kind of floating in and out of your world. That's just trash behavior. I will never accept that ever again. And it's extremely common, unfortunately, because as we've talked about before with ghosting and whatnot, the dating apps have really excused that kind of behavior or allowed that kind of behavior. But if you are trying to build a life with someone, you cannot have someone who, anytime there is any kind of conflict or, whatever, that they're just going to shut down or gloss over it or pretend that it's not an issue and not address it, but then be passive aggressive, because bad communication really leads to every other problem, the way I see it. So I think you need to be very clear at communicating your needs, very clear at communicating when something is bothering you, not to an annoying extent where you're saying every little thing, that comes to your mind. However, I think bad communication has ruined so many relationships. For example, I think a lot of people don't communicate that they're not happy and they don't ask their partner to fix it, but then they'll go out and have an affair or something, when maybe their partner was willing to do whatever, So to me, communication is really, really, really important. I have a degree in it, so it's very important.
I would guess that yours is probably more in mass communication, but,
Well, you know what I mean.
sure, it could work. No, that's a great one. And again, really illustrates how pathetically shallow mine are. So I almost feel embarrassed to share mine now because they're so silly.
No, it's not silly.
But again, they're just like a shorthand for me when I'm looking at profiles to be like, is this person going to be compatible?
Of course.
So another one that's sort of animal based is if they have two dogs. There's two variants of this. If they have two pit bulls, that's a certain kind of girl and I don't want to mess with.
Okay.
If they have two chihuahuas, that is 100% a girl I do not want to mess with. Mm-hmm. There's just a certain type of person that goes after, I don't know what it is. There's like a deep-seated psychological need where they feel the need for protection if they have the two pit bulls. But like in every case I've known someone who has those kind of dogs, they don't train them well. They don't know how to handle them. They're extremely aggressive, and the woman's just like, oh, they're just being playful, as the dog is like about to bite my face off. I like dogs. I'm not a big dog person.
Oh.
I'm much more of a cat person.
Oh, I'm a dog person. I'm team dog.
Yeah. Again, like if I go to a house and there's a friendly dog and they're chill, 100% I'm on board. I will give scritches forever. But if the dog is snarling at me the minute I walk in the door, and, it's very much the whole Luna Lovegood thing from Harry Potter where she's like, oh, he's just being silly, and it's like about to kill you. It's not for me.
I know very nice pit bulls, though, Sometimes there are people who are very defensive about pit bulls.
It's a
like,
whole
it's just how
thing.
they're, yeah. And now I have known ones that I did feel like they were going to tear my face off. So I guess it just depends. I also had a Chihuahua bite me, and I had a poodle bite me.
That's so strange to hear about a poodle. I mean, Chihuahuas are vicious, right? Like
No, poodles are nasty too.
Are they?
Mm-hmm. First time I ever got bit, I was 5, and bit me so hard that I was gushing blood. I had to go to the hospital, everything. And I was afraid of dogs for a while after that, like to the point where my parents had to pick me up and carry me past, like if we were walking down the street and there was like a dog even in a yard.
Yeah.
I got so freaked out. It was my biggest phobia for years. And how did we get over it? My parents decided, oh, we're getting a dog. And so we had a Yorkie, and she was kind of yappy. She got a little nasty too, but that kind of was just like exposure therapy. And then I got over my fear of dogs.
So your parents are right.
Well, yeah, no, they were. And then when I got married, right after we got married, we got a dog who I loved. I miss him a lot. And he was really cute. Lab. And labs are just so sweet and slobbery. They're not the brightest, but they're so loyal.
Yeah.
Like, that dog would have taken like a bullet for me, And so I love dogs. I miss having a dog. But yeah, I can kind of see your point there.
I think so much of what happens with dogs says something about the owner more than it does about the dogs, right? I want to be clear. I like dogs. I
Right.
like dogs that are well behaved.
Right.
And I don't do well around dogs that are not. And so, just as a great example, this past fall, I was taking a walk around the block, and this neighborhood is just full of very aggressive dogs.
I know. Every time I park here, a bunch of dogs are like, "Rah, rah, rah,
Yeah.
rah." Yeah. They
There's-
go crazy.
There's pit bulls everywhere. There's German shepherds.
Yeah.
There's, I think, even a Rottweiler. So I'm taking a walk around the neighborhood, and this pit bull comes charging at me.
Oh.
He's not on a leash.
Oh.
And I can't tell if he's friendly or not. I definitely went into like a panic and
Yeah.
just like stood still because I know they say you're not supposed to run.
Right.
Because then they think it's a game and they'll try
Right.
to, get you. So the lady, again, is just in her yard and is like, oh, sorry, ha ha. Ha. And I'm like, no, I am not okay with this. This
Yeah.
is scary. This
Yeah.
dog could hurt me.
Yes.
That's not the first time that's happened here. Like I was walking down the street and a guy, he had the dog on a leash, but he let go of the leash and the dog jumped on me
Ooh.
and is like in my face.
Yeah, and you hear about people getting mauled to death by.
Yeah.
Also, I don't want my beautiful face getting
I
hurt.
mean, yeah, I don't want to get,
I don't want anyone, messing up my beautiful face.
I don't want anyone messing up my average face. I don't want like,
You have a beautiful face.
I wasn't fishing. I don't want to have an interaction with a dog that makes me go into an adrenaline rush and like panic,
Yeah.
right? That's just not kind to other people.
Yeah, I do hate ones that jump up all the time on you. I have friends with dogs. They're friendly, but they will not freaking leave you alone. Like, you cannot walk from one point to another without them getting all up on you. And that, even though I love dogs, that is super annoying.
Yeah.
Or if you're trying to eat and then they're like in your face trying to get your food, I don't like that either. So, okay, fair enough.
A real quick aside that knocks out another red flag for that is that if they are on their profile making out with an animal,
Oh, right.
either
Yeah.
in bed or
Yeah.
in one case, I have a picture still on my phone somewhere of a girl who was on the floor in a nightie making out with the dog. Like the dog is licking her mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's on her profile. And I'm just like, that's not, there's something
Yeah.
weird about that for me.
That is weird.
I've known people who think that I'm a monster because I think that's gross, right? They're just like, oh, there's two
No.
types of people in this world and you're the other one. And I'm just like, yeah, I guess I am. I don't want a strange dog
No,
licking me in
no.
the mouth.
And I've seen guys who will say, my dog, Sandy or whatever, is my number one. She comes with the deal.
It's a
We're
package deal,
And that also gives like very strange energy to me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely understand that one.
That's
so.
another one that is on here a few times in different forms, right? Is if they say, my kids and I or my dogs and I or
Right.
whatever are a package deal.
Right.
Like,
And they'll
duh.
always come first and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, obviously. But do you have to say that right from the jump and be like aggressive about it? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I hate that. So my next one that is universal is they don't respect boundaries
Okay.
in any capacity. If someone is pushing your boundaries, if you say, I'm not okay with something and they're still pushing it, that is a toxic person to be around.
What kind of boundaries have you had pushed? As much as you're comfortable saying.
I mean, I think it's like a general thing. A lot of times guys will try to push boundaries physically. So that's one. But even with, like, I had someone who over communicated. Like, he wanted to be on, was very controlling, which, by the way, is my next one anyway. Anyone who's like controlling behavior, but I'll get to that in a second. But I think he wanted to talk to me on the phone like all the time. And I like talking on the phone, but I think the purpose for it was like, okay, if I'm talking on the phone with him, I can't be doing anything else. I can't be talking to anybody else. And I tried to tell him, hey, like, I'm really busy. I have other things to do. And he was just not taking no for an answer. He was like, oh, just for 5 minutes, just for, and he wasn't really hearing what I was saying. It was like, I'm not comfortable with being on the phone all the time when I have a life and I have things to do.
Or you just don't want to be on, right? Like, I think when you're
Right.
on the phone, there's an energy level that comes with that. And if you had a long day or you just want to go relax, you don't want to have to kind of be present right now for somebody. You need that time to recuperate.
Right.
That's not on my list, but the phone obsession is definitely one for me. I've known people who, when they were dating, would literally come home from work and turn on a FaceTime with the girl or the guy they're dating and just sit on there for hours as they're doing, they're watching TV, they're doing the dishes, they're
Yeah.
making dinner, and it's as if the person's in the room, but they're just on FaceTime. And like, absolutely not. Will not do
Yeah.
that.
That's a little much. So, yeah, I think anyone where, you're telling them, I'm not comfortable with something, I don't want to do this, and they are pushy about it, that is a controlling person. So, I would also say people who are controlling, they want to keep tabs on you all the time. And that again wraps up with also the jealousy. So I'm just going to kind of put them all, bundle them together. But the controlling, jealous, boundary pushing people,
Yeah.
the ones that say, you can't have any friends of the opposite sex. You're not allowed to go see this person. I don't want you posting a picture like that. You need to check with me before you say what you're, wearing today. And sadly there are people like that. I had someone in my family who was married to someone like that.
They had to
And
clear what they were wearing with the person.
yes.
That's
Yes.
bananas.
Yeah, it's weird because like I remember one time she was like, "Oh, do you want this nail polish?" Because her husband didn't like the color. He said, "Never wear that again." And I had to give it away because he said, and I'm like,
It's a
"I love my
slutty nail
boyfriend,
color.
but I'm wearing what I want." And I mean, and he's not like that anyway. Even if something's not his preference, he'd be like, "But if you like it, I like it." I would never let someone tell me what I can and can't wear. That's just ridiculous to me. And so I think, yeah, sadly, it is a thing. There are women out there, especially, I mean, it goes both ways. There's definitely women who are controlling about men, but yeah, they're being like policed all the time of what are you doing on social media, or they want your location all the time, or they want to go through your phone. The whole going through your phone thing is wild to me. I mean, no one has ever asked me to go through my phone, and I have never asked anyone to see. In fact, like, I'm kind of the opposite. If I see someone's phone open or whatever, or even if my partner, no matter who it was, having like a private texting conversation, I'll purposely look away because I feel like that's infringing on their privacy. But it is crazy, especially in those like groups, how many people like, it's women and they're like, well, I know it's not right, but when he was sleeping, I went through his phone, but no, they did find things, so it's kind of like, it begs the question, well, if you do go through the phone, which is unethical, but you do find things, is it okay then? I don't know, but I just would never do that, and I would never want someone to say, show me your phone. I want to see your phone. Who are you talking to? I just think that's gross.
Yeah, that's a gray area for me because the phone thing specifically, because I think I told the story before where
Yeah.
I, against my better judgment, went on the phone, but then I found something. And so, and I've also been in relationships where the other person would wait until I was in the shower and then check my phone. Or in my most recent relationship, right, they would look over my shoulder every time I'm texting, like, who are you texting?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I
it's,
heard the stories about that. I did not approve.
yeah. I mean, it gets into this larger question of when you're in a relationship, how much openness, how much transparency is there going to be? And I guess you have to find a relationship that you are on the same level with that about, because there is a privacy that happens with phones that didn't used to exist. So like when you were in the 90s before cell phones were around, there was not like a very accessible private method of communication
Right.
that would allow you to conduct an affair
Right.
with great ease.
Yes.
There was, you could write letters, but they could be intercepted by the person because you're sharing a mailbox. You could, go places after work or whatever. You could find ways to do it, but it just was a very different world now that we have that capacity in our hands at all times to conduct a private life. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think I don't think it's a good idea to go through people's phones, but I also know that I think people take it too far in the other direction where they're just using it as a way to hide what they're really doing and to keep the
Right.
person.
Yeah, I think you just have to have a really good foundation of trust and make sure that you're with someone who is trustworthy. So,
Which the only way to make sure is to install a tracker on their phone,
right?
a tracker on their car.
Yeah, but that all ties into boundaries as well. So I think testing boundaries, being controlling, being jealous. Like, I hate the jealousy thing.
That's a
I
tough
feel
one.
like women do it a lot, and there's just no reason for it because it comes down to your own self-worth, right? Like, if you feel confident in yourself, then you shouldn't be jealous, right? Like,
It's another tough one because I have been in so many relationships where the jealousy was out of control and I just didn't know how to handle it.
you were jealous?
That only happened once or twice.
Okay.
In both of those cases, I think it was the other person was acting in an untrustworthy way. And so that created a kind of jealousy in me.
Right.
In every other dating situation I've been in, I haven't had that, right? The person was not giving me any reason to be distrustful or jealous, and so I wasn't. But when you come home and the person is sitting on the couch with their coworker and they're tickling each other
Oh.
and they're flirting,
Yeah, I
it's
mean, I'd
kind of
have a
hard
problem.
not to be
I'd have a problem with that.
right. So that's why I think like people kind of
Did that happen? Is that real?
that's a very true story, yeah.
Ew, I wouldn't like that. No.
Which later come to find out that she probably has a more polyamorous mindset. But at the time, I didn't know that. And I just felt violated where I just was, you told me this person is just a friend. And that's a very boundary pushing thing.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's just one example. There's been other examples, right, where the person is jealous towards me and there's nothing I can do because I'm just behaving as a normal person. But they're inventing all these reasons to be jealous. The one day I had gotten dressed up for work and I felt for like the first time in my entire life, I was like feeling it. I was just like, oh, I look pretty good today. I put
Yeah.
together a thing. And so I sent her a selfie just saying like, I'm feeling pretty good in this.
That's cute. I love that.
I've never done that before or since. And when she texted me back, she said, I hope you didn't send that to anyone else. And I was like, what the, like,
Oh,
what?
ew.
What are you talking about?
Ew.
Of course I didn't send that to anyone else. I'm sending it to you. It's a kind of a moment of vulnerability because I
Right.
know that 9 times out of 10, I don't feel confident in myself. So
Yeah.
one time I'm expressing that
Yeah.
and it gets kicked back in your face.
Ew, yuck.
Yeah. So there's just a lot of things like that or anyway.
Yucking someone's yum also, like, I hate that. Yeah, see, maybe I should be more, like, I guess maybe I'm naive and maybe I should have been jealous of things. But here's the thing, I have this inflated sense of, I'm like, well, no one's better than me. So why
Right.
would I be jealous? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm the best.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
I mean, I feel like that's probably the healthier way to do it than my version, which is like, yeah, I hate myself and I'm fine with
well, because
hating
it
myself.
just, it can lead you down a very dangerous path, I think. Jealousy is not a good feeling to indulge, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I've never been jealous. Yes, I do get a little jealous sometimes of things, but I would never, I don't know. I would never tell somebody, like, you can't wear that, or you can't talk to this person, or I don't know. It's just, to me, that's
It's so
lame.
funny to imagine you telling your boyfriend or some guy, like, you can't dress in that, it's too slutty. Like, I don't want you. It's too much chest hair showing.
If anything, like, I've always bought, like, cute outfits for, because I like having, like, a real life Ken doll, so I encourage them to wear cute outfits,
Yeah.
and I'll like, buy them a cute outfit.
See, when it's a man, you can't call it an outfit. I don't know what you call it, but it's not an outfit.
It's not an outfit?
Yeah.
What do you
It's weird.
Really?
I don't know. There's something wrong with that term. Jason Isbell has that in one of his songs. Like, I can't remember exactly the lyrics, but it's something like a dad giving advice to his son and saying, like, don't call what you're wearing an outfit.
Okay.
Anyway, the jealousy thing, just to kind of wrap that up, for me, the antidote that kind of helped resolve most of that was somebody told me, when you get too focused on that person as being like the only person for you, that can create some sense of jealousy because then you're worried about the fragility of it. If somebody were to take that away, then your life would be over. If you kind of step back and say, love is abundant, you can find it in many places.
Yeah.
Then it's a little easier to just be like, okay, yeah, maybe she is flirting with that person. And if she ends up going with him forever and leaving me, then I will find somebody else and I'll be okay. It's sort of like
Yeah.
that stoic approach of just,
Yeah. So I have practiced the art of detachment, I guess is what you
Yeah.
call it, for a little while now. And it's not that you don't care about anybody, but yes, you know I'm not going to crumble. My life isn't going to be over because something doesn't work with one person.
yeah.
And I do completely agree with the abundance mindset over the scarcity mindset. And yeah, just detaching feelings from, certain situations.
All right, so my next one is if they say things on their profile, there's a few variations of this, like, oh, back at it again, ... or can't believe I'm doing this,
Oh,
or
yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing on here, I hate it here. No one probably loves online dating profiles,
Right.
but we do it because it is a necessary part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to call it a game. It's a necessary part of the process.
Right.
You have to explain who you are
Mm-hmm.
in a short way if you can, right? And I love when people make fun of that. They do it in a silly way. There's so many different things you can do now, right? You can use ChatGPT to cheat. You can ask your best friend to write it for you. You can ask your parents to write it for, whatever it is. Somebody
Right.
who can be more objective about you than you
Mm-hmm.
can help you with that. So there's no reason to go on there and start out with a complaint and act like dating is a chore. We all know it's tough.
Yeah.
You don't need to call it out and make it the whole focus of your profile.
Yeah. And I think that's actually much deeper than it seems, because it seems superficial, like, oh, you don't want someone who does that kind of negative thing, but it probably ties to their personality in general.
Well, and
They're doing
also
that.
when they say back at it again, you're devaluing yourself.
Right.
You're saying subtly or behind the words, you're saying I failed at my last relationship instead of something like I'm here because the last relationship didn't work out. It was a compatibility issue or whatever. You're saying like you expect someone to come rescue you.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, my thoughts on that aren't fully formed, but I just feel like there's a mentality that is hidden behind that phrase of just blaming everybody else for your problems
Yeah.
and not taking responsibility for yourself and trying to do the best you can with this limited space that you have to represent yourself.
Yeah. Good call. All right. So my next one is abusive in any way, verbally, physically,
Well, okay.
emotionally.
That's cheating. Of course that's a red flag.
Well, look, you would think that that would be an obvious red flag, but look how many people make excuses for it or stick around and think, well, I'll tolerate this because I don't feel like getting back out there again. Oh, it was just this one time. It was, they said they were sorry, whatever. And abuse takes many different forms. And a lot of people feel like, well, if it's not, I would hope that anybody listening knows that any kind of physical abuse is wrong. You need to report it. It's a very serious thing. I think it's like a lot more nuanced when, it's emotional abuse or verbal abuse where they're, making digs at you all the time, undermining you all the time, criticizing you all the time, gaslighting you, making you think that you're crazy, telling you you're crazy. And that type of thing is really just not sustainable for a healthy relationship. So I would just say abuse in any form is a no-go.
100% agree on that one. I have no notes other than I have gone through a couple of those and at the time justified it, rationalized it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love to do an episode maybe where we interview an expert on that topic
Yeah.
because there's probably a lot of people who don't think that they're in a relationship like that. When I went to therapy years ago and described a relationship that was giving me trouble, and the therapist is like, oh, that's abuse. And I was like, no, it's not. It's just this, that, or the other thing. And she's like,
Yeah.
no, that's abuse. It's a really tough area to talk about because you want to be sensitive to people's experiences. And also a lot of times people are in denial about it. And so
Right.
you might recognize it as a friend or a family member in someone else, but they won't recognize it themselves. And it can kind of drive a wedge between you. So it really adds a lot of complications that are tough to address.
Yeah. So what's your next one?
On that note, yeah,
On
now
that
I gotta
happy
come in. I gotta do something really shallow now to make up for that.
Mm-hmm.
I will do a couple about pictures on their profile to kind of cleanse the palette there. If they have pictures only from the neck up,
Okay.
they're hiding something.
Really? You think so?
Absolutely. Oh, 100%.
Okay.
I will not even swipe on a profile. They might have the most beautiful face I've ever seen. If all their pictures are from the neck up, I will absolutely swipe left.
Okay.
I have been burned on that several times where, if you want to, whatever it is you're hiding, whether it be that you're overweight or you're underweight or you're whatever it might be, I have no idea. There could be a list of other things that I'm not even thinking about right now. I don't want to show up and be surprised.
Okay.
The profile is there to give a summary of yourself, to Give that person the opportunity to say yay or nay without hurting feelings. I think a minimum of one full body picture is absolutely the bare minimum.
Okay.
So that's one of them. If all the pictures are from the same angle,
Okay, why are you looking at me like that? I just have a specific angle that I like.
right? But
But
again,
I don't think all of my pictures were from the same angle. I don't think. Are they?
I just
don't
think
remember.
there's so many profiles I've come across where the person is literally just, it's the same picture and the background is different 5 times. And it's not giving you an overall sense of who the person is. You need to get as much information as you can in that small space. So if you're doing it all from the same angle, you are trying to hide something. Wildly different pictures that make you wonder if they're the same person.
Yeah, I see that with guys too. I'm like, how is this the same person? This is really strange. Like,
Yeah.
they look completely different
Which-
from one to another. Or you can tell that they're really old pictures.
Yeah, that's what I think is what's happening most of the time, is that the pictures are just really old and then they have
Right.
one new one and you're like, wait, you've now got gray hair you didn't before, or you've gained weight or lost it, or you got a tattoo, whatever it is. Like, just, I don't know, get somebody to
Holding
take
a
pictures.
fish too, I will say, that was always a turnoff for me.
Yeah.
Partly because I hate fish, but also it's like, I don't know, bad vibe.
Yeah. Let's see. If they have a photo that is just a vague social post that's something like, you have strength, and it's just like a picture of a sunrise or whatever.
that's-
There's a lot of those, especially on Facebook dating.
Oh, ew, I don't like that. I would never do that.
It's a ton of pictures.
Why would I
of-
waste the opportunity for a picture of me
Yeah.
to put a quote?
There's so
silly.
many, like, they put memes or they will put these like inspirational quotes, and I'm just like, I've learned nothing about you other than that
Yeah,
you're
that's
basic.
lame.
If they have nothing but group pics,
Oh, yeah. And then you can't even tell who it is. I hate that. Guys do that all the time. And I think guys do it because they're like, look at how many friends I have.
I think it's probably that. It's also probably the fact that nobody takes pictures of guys.
Yes, I have heard that. And I've actually heard someone say, go easy on the guys for the fish pics because they're not taking pictures all the time. And it might be just one time they were really proud of this fish
Right.
that they caught.
We don't do selfies, generally speaking.
Right, yeah.
And we
True.
are basically ghosts in most people's photographic history, right?
Yeah.
I have noticed this so many times. I go to visit friends, nobody takes a picture. There's no proof of it ever happening. But
Right.
then they
Girls
have a
take pics. We take pictures of everything every
Right.
time we get together. Yeah.
But then you see a girl goes to visit them, and suddenly there's
Yeah.
pictures all over their social
Yeah.
media about the visit. And as a parent, I'm especially a ghost because all my pictures are of my kid.
Yeah.
If you go through my phone, it's just endless pictures
Yeah.
of him, and there's no pictures of me. Or if there is, it's me and him. So
Right.
I know some people have issues with putting their kids on their profile. Again, I do it because I want people to know that I am a parent, and that's part of what they're getting. We're the total package.
Yes.
And let's see. I
Yeah.
think there was one more thing about pictures in here. Oh, if all of their pictures are of them at the gym,
Oh, yeah.
or they're like doing bodybuilding competitions.
Yeah,
and,
and guys, it's like every guy has the gym pic. And I'm not even into like muscly gym bro people. I don't like real I'm not into muscle.
You're not into jack dudes.
No,
Yeah.
no, I've never found that attractive.
Yeah.
I don't like big muscles. I don't know.
The last thing I'll say about pictures. Sorry, this has been a long one. If
You're superficial. It's cool. It's fine.
you're not wrong. It's just, again, this is like the opening foray into
Yeah,
the relationship,
no,
right?
okay,
Is the
yeah,
picture
I get it,
and
I
the
get it,
prompts.
I get it.
No, you don't. You're judging
I
me.
guess I don't.
If they have filters on all their pictures.
Oh, well, yeah, that's...
Women are terrible with this. I don't
Yeah.
imagine that men do it as much, but I don't know. Especially ones
Sometimes.
with like, a lot of women will have the ones, it's like turned their face into a little dog.
Yeah, that's so
Like, what are you
stupid. That's
doing?
so... Look, and I love my selfies and everything, but I never put any overly filtered... Like, I might adjust the lighting or whatever, but I'm not into super filtered... Oh, now what's worse is people are putting AI pictures of themselves.
That is absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah, but
what are you
it's-
doing?
Yeah, even when I got off of the apps a year ago, there were guys using AI on their pictures. It's like a cartoon version of that, you know? Like,
The profile
So
is
weird.
there, people, to give a sense of who you are. It does not cover all of who you are, but it is there to be the introduction. And if you are putting on filters, you are saying something about yourself that is not great, which is that you are trying to hide.
Yeah.
And I understand that it can be jarring to look at pictures of yourself as you age, especially in the range that we are in right now.
Right.
I'm sure it's way worse than it is for some of the younger kids out there who are on the dating profiles. But, like, good God, realistic pictures, at least one full body. Try not to be making out with an animal, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, if you like your animals, great, but having pictures of them in bed with you, there's just like all these
Yeah,
things
that's
that,
weird. Oh, and the duck face too. And even
oh,
guys do the duck face, but I would suspect the girls do a lot of the duck face
so much
pictures.
duck face. It hasn't been as bad recently as it was like during the early times when I was dating, like the
Yeah.
2010s to
Yeah, I
2015.
feel like people have realized how annoying it is maybe, so I
There's
don't know.
also, along with the duck face, we went through a long trend of the crouch. Women were all crouching in their photos,
Oh.
even in moments when they didn't need to crouch. Like, the whole point of crouching in photos is to make the back row of people visible. There would be a high number of pictures of everyone in the pictures crouching, back row included. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to stand up. The people in the front row crouch, not you.
That's weird. I don't
I'm
think
telling
I've
you, it's a
okay.
thing in girl
Oh,
pictures. I'm sure
okay.
it's not in guy
I
pictures.
no, I mean sometimes, but
Anyway,
okay, so since we're talking about friends, here's one. If they don't have any like real friends, I was thinking of like my exes and my ex-boyfriend of 3.5 years that was sort of the transition out of my divorce. It was really strange. Now he was an only child, so he was very content being on his own. And he had some superficial friends, like work friends, but I found it strange that he didn't have any like friends, like close friends, like someone, if you were stranded on the side of the road, like who could you call type of friends. None, which to me seemed like a little concerning. Now, he made friends with my friends and he was great with them, but I just found it really strange. Like there was no friend that he was like, texting or talking to on the phone. Like he had a few from high school and like once in a while, like from his old neighborhood, like once in a while they would have like a little reunion, but on a daily basis like he didn't have friends. And I think that just says something about a person when like why don't you have friends? That's weird.
yeah, that's a good one. It's not really one I've encountered. I think most women are generally better at making friends than many guys are, but yeah, I would imagine that is probably a little dicey. Again, I'm on the shallow side of things. If they talk about reality TV on their profile and how much they love Bravo, that's at least a yellow flag for me.
Oh, on their profile. So, I mean, obviously I love Bravo and reality TV,
It's
but I don't
poisoning the minds of women. This entire
but
generation is
I
ruined.
never mentioned it on my profile, and I wouldn't make it my whole personality or anything.
Yeah.
I just enjoy those shows for what they are, you know?
Yeah.
I also recognize what they are. They're trashy.
Yeah, it's one thing if the person can say that they're trash. It's another thing where I have had multiple people I've dated try to convince me that they're entertaining and that I would enjoy them. And so they tried to force me to watch The Bachelor or they tried to force me to watch some other reality show. I don't like reality television. I never have. I have sat through some of it as trying to be kind in the relationship, but
Yeah.
it just, to me, especially Bravo stuff, it's you're just mainlining toxicity all day
Yeah.
while you're watching that. Like, what are you? I don't know.
I've been in from the beginning with the housewives and everything, and my ex-husband he actually did have a big problem with it because he'd just be like, why do you watch this? This is so stupid. He hated Andy Cohen. Every time he
Yeah.
was on, he was like, oh my God, that guy again. And I'm sorry, but I teach serious things all day, British literature and whatnot. It's a good escape just to have something fluffy to unwind.
And again, if that's your perspective on it, it's just like I'm just tuning out. I'm not really engaged in this. Whatever. That's one thing. But if you're like going to New York to visit these people when they're doing signings and you're
Well,
viewing
I
them
have
as
done. I mean, I
idols,
haven't gone, but when they're in the area, I have
oh my
met several
God.
of them.
Yeah.
And it's fun.
I'm not one to knock people's hobbies, generally speaking.
Yeah,
I
don't
just
yuck
know
my yum.
I'm not trying to yuck your yum, but I just know that it's not going to be great for me to be in a relationship with that person because that person thrives on a certain level of toxicity that I think they leaks into their daily life.
Yeah, I mean, again, I treat it for what it is, and I feel I am one of the least toxic people that I know.
I'm sure you're the exception, as always. You
By the
are.
way, I was thinking of you the other day because you know how you sort of make fun of the I'm not like other girls.
Yeah.
I had a moment that really proves I am not like other girls, okay? I just, as an aside, I was in the shower, I was taking a shower, and a big spider comes up in the shower. He's in the shower curtain
Yeah.
and he's crawling all over, right? Like, and he was big. Instead of like, I feel like a regular girl would freak out, but I very calmly just swatted at the spider and kept on showering.
Yeah, that little pervert spider was trying to catch a peek.
I was like, see, I am not like other girls because I didn't freak out about the spider.
Yeah.
So.
Great job. You removed a sexual predator from your house.
I did. Yeah. Okay. So my next, oh, wait, no, it's your turn. Whose turn is it?
What was the one you just said?
Wait, no. I'm losing track.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was yours because you said Bravo and reality TV. Sorry.
And I would also lump in there Sex and the City, right? If you idolize Sex and the City.
Oh, it's my number one.
Yeah, something's wrong.
It's my favorite show of all time.
Yeah, you can't look at that show and say that there's depth and think that that's
Oh, no,
okay.
I think the writing on that is great.
Oof.
Great show.
Disagree.
Okay, well, agree to disagree. Okay, my next one is All My Exes Are Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
That is, now look, can you have someone where one of their exes is crazy? Of course. However, if that's how they excuse away the fact that they've never been, and look, we're a little up there in years, let's face it. Okay. So if you haven't had one committed, stable relationship by this point, mid to late 40s, I guess that's a red flag in itself too, right? Like someone's never had. But if the excuse they give is, well, yeah, oh yeah, I just ended up with all these crazy people. They were just all crazy. There might be something to that.
You're probably 100% right, but this is a difficult one for me because I have had multiple partners who have been institutionalized.
Well, I know. Okay. And that's fair.
Yeah. So I'm sure when I am describing that to somebody I'm dating, I probably sound like that person who's like, oh, all my exes are crazy. And I'm like, no, but measurably,
Yeah.
there has been challenges with that. And again, yeah, I probably have something where I am drawn to that for whatever reason. I don't know what it is. I've tried to solve it in therapy. Haven't made any discoveries yet. But yeah, that I agree that that's probably a red flag. Also, while knowing that I am draped in that red flag myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your next one?
If they say that they are fluent in sarcasm.
Oh my gosh. The guys have that all the time.
It's everywhere.
Rampantly on their... I didn't know girls did that too.
It's constant.
The guy being fluent in sarcasm.
I mean, I think as with everything else, online dating profiles have developed their own language that now is so ubiquitous that people have kind of replaced any individuality with just stamping in these phrases that they've heard other people say. It's just like everything else with internet culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Or the guys like about tacos. Oh, I love tacos. That was like all over the place.
Yeah.
Everything
you're
was
so
all about
unique. You
tacos.
like tacos. Yeah. When you say you're fluent in sarcasm, I assume you're just an asshole. Right. You're a person who likes to make fun of other people and you don't care about people's feelings. And that has been my experience with everybody who talks like that, is that they do not care if the other person feels bad when they say something, or they like to neg them, or they say things on their profile like a flirt to roast ratio, heavy on the roast. And I'm just like, why would I want to do that? Why would I want to date somebody who's constantly telling me what a piece of shit I am? I know I'm a piece of shit. I don't need you to tell me.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. So another kind of along the lines of not having a steady relationship ever, or finding a problem with every relationship or the person, not being able to keep a job. Like, look, I've changed careers several times and whatnot, and people could feel a certain way about that. But I've had stable employment. I've been at my current job for 20 years. But I think it's like, again, if they're like, yeah, I was here for a couple months and then here, and they always have an excuse about like, oh, well, my boss was just an asshole, or you kind of start to wonder, like,
if they're the problem. Yeah.
You're the problem if you just keep losing every job that you have.
Yeah. In kind of the same vein, I also have one that says like, if they constantly talk about how they hate drama,
Oh
And
yeah.
they probably are the drama. It's kind of the same thing with the work, right? It's like if they're constantly losing their job, it's probably not the job that's the issue. It's probably more the fact that they don't like authority or they can't
Mm-hmm.
handle a typical structured job and they need to figure out something else, some other way to make money. But yeah, that's a good one.
The no drama thing is all over the men's profiles. I don't like drama. I don't want a girl with drama. Why are girls so dramatic? Like, they say it all the time. And drama to them might just be expressing emotions. That's the thing. Because we get into this conversation on those Facebook groups, right? Like, what do they mean by drama? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, if you're like trying to start fights all the time and you're, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But I think to some guys, drama is like you express a boundary.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very valid point. I don't talk with dudes about drama a lot, so I'm not sure, but I can easily see where you're coming from on that one. All right, so this one is a little probably controversial. If they smoke or they smoke weed.
Yeah, I'm not into that whole thing. Like, I'm not into smoking and not into drugs. So, just to me, I mean, I guess it's personal, but it can also be a universal thing depending on the severity of it, right? Like,
Yeah.
if so.
I mean, I just for nothing else, like you take out if we just talk about smoking, it's a health risk, right? So why would
Yeah,
I, especially at this age, I'm
right,
starting to think about that more. Like, is this person taking care of themselves in the long term?
right,
So are they eating relatively healthy? Are
right,
they drinking to excess? Are they smoking? Those are all things that you need to kind of consider about the value of a long-term relationship with this person.
right.
So there's that. There's also the economics of it. If you're
Yeah.
smoking, a 2 pack a day habit is
They're
what?
so
Yeah, that's like
expensive.
$20 a day,
It is,
if
yeah.
not more. And so over time, that's going to be a huge drain on your finances.
Right.
Now, the weed thing, I have nothing against weed. I don't care if people smoke in general. And I have a lot of friends who are into it, but I am not. It's never been a good thing for me. I went through a brief phase where I tried it and it just turned me into a paranoid mess. So it's just not for me. And it's like, I fully wish everyone the best who does it, but I know that in a relationship with me, that's going to be a challenge because it just, when one person's drunk and the other person's not, or the one person's high and the other person's not, it can create a really weird dynamic where you're just kind of feel like you're babysitting the other person or something along those
Yeah.
lines.
Yeah, for sure. And I think there's also people who make it their whole personality,
Yeah.
and that's just annoying to me. Like, I'm the stoner, like it's funny when you're like a character, like you're, you know, Jay, in Mallrats or whatever, or you're like Seth Rogen in any movie, right?
Yeah.
But when you're trying to be serious with someone and have a romantic relationship with someone and they're just out of it all the time. I broke up with my best friend from high school. He was high all the time, and it was frustrating because he wouldn't remember conversations that we would
Yeah.
have. And it was so annoying because it'd be like, "Oh yeah, remember?" And he's like, "Oh no, I don't remember that." And I'm like, we just talked about that like yesterday.
Yeah.
And yeah, the whole memory loss thing, it's just, yeah, I just don't like it. I hate the smell of it. Like, I
Yeah.
cannot stand. Now, I know people like are into the gummies now. I guess that's okay. But like, again, I just wonder, like, why do you feel that, what is wrong with you that you need to self medicate or self soothe constantly? Because I've heard people say, and with alcohol too, well, it's the only way I can be myself. Maybe you should look into that.
Yeah.
If that's the only way you can be yourself, then maybe go to therapy.
Yeah. I mean, 100% agree. I dated somebody who would use gummies to go to sleep. It was not part of their personality.
Right.
It was not part of their daily routine of like functioning,
Yeah.
and their memory was intact. So
Yeah.
I had no issue there, right?
Yeah. I
Totally
know
fine.
people who do that and it's
Yeah.
fine.
But the people who, you're right, the memory thing is so frustrating when you're just trying to have a normal conversation and you feel like you have to have it 7 times.
Yeah.
Like that's
Just
just, that's not a fully functional relationship.
Okay, one other big one that I had is love bombing.
Oh, okay.
Love bombing is such a red flag. I have talked on previous episodes about how I was completely love bombed by one of my ex-boyfriends, and at first it seems really nice because you're like, "Oh wow, finally someone's treating me right. They're appreciating me. They're saying nice things to me all the time." But if the time you've spent together is like not proportional to the attention that they're giving you or the gifts they're giving you or how much they're making you a part of their life, from the jump, that is concerning. I just didn't really realize it until it was, too late. But love bombing is a whole other set of things. It indicates usually a very unhealthy personality from that person and not a healed person. Often it's an avoidant attached person because they're connecting on a very superficial level. They're kind of like, okay, I'm going to buy a bunch of things and say a bunch of nice things, and that's how I'm going to connect, and that's how I'm going to show love. But it's not genuine. And so I think it's concerning.
Yeah, no argument. If they're terrible with money.
Yeah, and I also, so terrible with money, and also I wrote down like legal troubles, but you could, anything like that. If they're like, I've been arrested a bunch of times, and like having money problems all the time. I mean, I'm kind of bad with money, but like, so I can't say too much about it.
Well, you're a giant walking red flag. We all know that.
Well, I am a giant, yes, but I also, it wasn't like money stuff wasn't really instilled in me. However, I'm not like gambling away. Like I've never gambled in my life, really.
And that's the thing is like, you can be poor and not be terrible with money, right? If you are wise about how you handle it, if you are strategic, it's the people who have no savings, or they spend $1,000 to go see Lady Gaga and they have no savings is more what I mean.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's if they're being wild with their money and are not caring about the future, or they're not thinking about how it might impact their kids, or any number of those things. It's not to say like I'm only looking for wealthy people. Sure, that would be great. Mm-hmm. It's more that you have to handle it wisely, no matter how much you have or don't have. So it's always frustrated me when people talk about, or they're constantly traveling, or they're going to see all these crazy expensive concerts and they have no savings to speak of. Like, what are you going to do if you lose your job?
Yeah. No, that's very true.
And there's a big push right now, I guess, because the economy is so bad. There's a lot of people saying that they're going to live like there is no tomorrow, because what's the point? We're saving for a future that may never come, right? Like Social Security.
Well, I had that mindset for a really long time, and I've only really in the last couple of years saw the value of like, say, now I have a financial advisor now that I got last year, and I wish I would have done that sooner, for sure.
I mean, yeah, that's my advice to anybody who's listening. If they haven't already, talk to somebody. It doesn't have to be a financial advisor necessarily. It could be just your friend or relative who's really good with money.
Yeah.
Like, just get some advice about long-term planning and as much as you're capable, or just how to start saving, no matter how small. The earlier the better, right? It's the old saying that the best time was 10 years ago, but the second best time is today. So
yeah,
I am not a wealthy man. I just have a savings as much as I can. I'm trying to help my kid be set for college as much as I'm able. But if you're not doing anything with your money responsibly, especially at our age, there's a real problem there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, I have one last, and it's maybe more on the superficial side, but I gotta throw in a fun one. Unsolicited dick pics. Or just any like unsolicited sexual content very early on. And again, like some guys even put in their profile like very heavily sexual things, and that is a red flag. I mean, we're taught that if they're leading with sexual stuff before you even meet them, if they're trying to sext you, or they're sending you dick pics or whatever before you even meet in person, that's a problem.
Yeah. Thankfully, no one sends me dick pics, so this is not really one that...
But even if a woman was like, you haven't even met her yet, and she's like texting all this like nasty stuff, like you'd wonder, it doesn't bother you at all.
That's fine.
If you could just see the face he's making, he's like,
this does not cross the gender divide. No, I think most men are probably like, yeah, all right. I mean, I'm sure there's probably men who are not as comfortable with sexuality who might think that that is a type of woman that they don't want to be with, and I support those people if that's not what you're into, whatever. I prefer women who are not that uptight about their sexuality, and so it would not bother me if they sent me an unsolicited picture like that. but I could understand where other people are coming from if that's not what they're into.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, you're literally wearing a shirt right now that says you're a proud member of the Tinsel Tits Society.
I am, but I know you. Well, okay, yeah.
Sure.
So for context, it's the holidays, and I have this like, it's a retro-y lady here, and it's with a Christmas tree, and it says "proud member of the Tinsel Tits Society," and I just get a kick out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a funny shirt.
But I
Don't get
know
me
you,
wrong.
so
Yeah.
it's fine.
I thought it was kind of an irony. That's all.
It is a little ironic. Well,
it's a
look,
nice shirt.
I can be very naughty, but because and I love explicit content, like
Right.
I love that stuff. But I like women are kind of taught that like if you lead with that, then guys are going to put you in that category and not ever think of you in a serious way.
Ugh, that opinion bothers me.
But there are guys who will actually say that, and said like, yeah, if a chick is like throwing herself at me and sending me all kinds of like racy photos, I'm not gonna like consider her for like the mother of my child.
I mean,
I'll have fun with her. I'll use her for a little bit. So I
if
think
that's how that guy wants to do it, I guess that's his opinion, but why can't it be both? Everybody has multifaceted personalities. You're not one thing or another.
Yeah.
So if you...
But not everyone's like you.
Yeah, well, other people are dumb. So I still have a few more. I'll try to bang through them real quick.
Yeah, let's get through. All
right, so if they mention wanting to be spoiled or if they mention royalty on their profile... I have to be treated like a queen. I'm a princess.
Yeah, that is cringe even to me as a woman. I hate when women say stuff like that.
That's an immediate stop for me because I want a partner, not a princess. For a long time when you used to have taglines on your profile, that was mine, was like, I'm looking for a partner, not a princess. I cannot stand the people who want to be wined and dined and like you have to do all the planning and they will never contribute at all, right? I understand if I have to do the majority of it. That's totally fine. I get that that's kind of the role that we've established for men, and a lot of women want to advocate that responsibility. 75% of the time, 80% of the time, sure. But if you're not in any way ever contributing to, I'm not paying for a thing that we're doing together, a meal or going out to an activity, or if you're not thinking of things to do, you're just waiting for me to do all of that work all the time, that is not going to work.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
If they mention their heritage as part of their personality, so like, oh, I'm Italian, so you know how we are. Like, yeah, I don't want to date you. If they have clearly had a bunch of plastic surgery, I understand that there's a lot of social pressure on women to try to look as beautiful as they can. I understand that in a lot of cases, there are people who have things that they really want to get rid of or in their mind correct, quote unquote. But I also know that body dysmorphia is a thing. As a person, I have struggled with that myself. After you lose a ton of weight, your brain still sometimes sees yourself in that old way and can't recalibrate to what you've become. And it can create a negative self-image. I understand that that mentality is happening for a lot of women who are seeking out this constant plastic surgery. But it, in my mind, is a disease in some form. I don't know that that's an official thing, but when you are just like, oh, I'm just going to get my jaw moved a little bit here, I'm going to get my nose done, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, the people that I've known that do that were gorgeous to begin with. It's never the people who have like some wild, crazy nose that they inherited from their family that are doing it. In my experience, I'm sure those people are out there. It's always the people who have a really weird self-image that is completely off of what everyone else sees. And so to me, that's just like I don't want to get involved with that.
Yeah. Women, it's unfortunate because the plastic surgery is so prevalent. On young, you see celebrities and they're in their 20s already starting with plastic surgery. And yeah, I think naturals. I love Kate Winslet has come out a lot recently saying, I'm letting myself age naturally. This is harmful to young girls to see fake people all the time. Or unhealthy choices to make yourself, your body look a certain way. And I'm just going all natural. And I think she looks great.
In the celebrity vein, there was one, I can't remember her name, but she was on She-Hulk, I think, and some other show, who just left the U.S., is given up trying to make a career here because she said American actresses can't emote anymore.
Right.
Because they're so full of fillers and things. So she's going back to England to deal with people who want to be real actors. And I'm sure in Hollywood and, in the film world and TV, the entertainment industry, that's probably much more exaggerated than it is on a daily basis. But it's trickling down, I think, to normal people. And again, I have dated a couple people who just, that is their obsession. They are always looking, they're saving up for the next thing to fix. And it just is not healthy in my
Yeah.
mind. And it's not something that I want to spend a ton of money on if we are sharing our finances, blah, 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 blah.
Right. And it can be risky as far as like that, you can, you can die from plastic surgery and things like that. So, again, if that's what makes you happy, if you have the means to do it, I'm all for women making their own choices, about their bodies and whatnot. I personally, I say that now, but maybe who knows? But
Yeah.
I've always thought like I'm going to take care of myself as best I can, and I want to look like me. I would never want to change me.
If their stories are all about how they're the victim,
Yeah,
that is
victim mentality is, and guys do that too.
oh yeah,
The
it's
woe
more,
is me.
or if it's kind of like a narcissism, right? Or some, I know that term gets thrown around too casually these days,
but
but
no.
if you're constantly the victim in every story,
Everyone's against me.
yeah, there's
Everything's
something
so
wrong.
unfair. Yeah.
A couple more real quick. If they infantilize me, so a lot of times I've had people be like, every time I get a text from a friend of mine, a dude, or I get a call from him, like, oh, is that your boyfriend texting you? Or we'll be a bunch of dudes gathering together, and they'll be like, oh, how cute. Like, they're going to all go watch sports together. Like, oh, you guys are going to have fun watching your sports. Like, there's just,
Oh, ew! I don't like that.
yeah, that is a
Who does
very
that?
common thing. That is a very common thing where
Really?
women want to, for whatever reason, reduce men to like this stupid stereotype. I don't know if it's they've watched too many TV shows or something where
Yeah.
men are dumb, but if you're treating me like I'm dumb, I'm not going to be in a relationship with you.
Oh, yeah. That's the one part of myself I value the most is intellect. So if someone is trying to condescend to me or minimize my thoughts or
Yeah.
whatever, yeah, no, hard no.
And there's this kind of social media trend that's happened recently where I think we talked about this briefly on a previous podcast, but maybe not, where women are kind of like just mocking men in general.
Yeah.
And they act like they're such a burden. Like, oh, he's out
Yeah.
there mowing the lawn. Like, what a loser. It's like, what? Like, how do you expect this stuff to get done? So, anyway, I don't get any of that. I don't like any of it. I would not be dating someone who does
Yeah.
it. If they like everything you like, which I guess is kind of like love bombing, right? If they act like
Yes.
you guys are aligned on everything, something's wrong. That has happened
That's
to me.
good.
If they are a casual liar, that is my
Oh,
last
yeah,
one.
that was one that I meant to write down. Even little lies, and again, my one ex, like, he would say stuff, and it wasn't even anything serious, but I'm like, I have a feeling that didn't happen. He would just, like, tell these stories. I'm like, that doesn't sound like real to me. And I think that's a
Exaggerating is
problem.
an extension of that and also problematic and lies by omission. But I dated somebody who their whole thing was just, they would just lie to get out of everything. I've dated a couple people like that.
Yeah,
And
lying in general, I can't stand.
I don't think that they realize they're doing it in a lot of cases, but it is so unpleasant to deal with. And it causes huge problems because it starts to creep. They might think they're doing it about small things, but then they do it about big things, who they were with or what they were doing. And
Yeah.
they just, oh, I just needed a night alone, so I told you I was out with my friends or whatever. It's like, you could have just told me you wanted a night alone. You know,
Yeah,
there's-
I don't like, that's, like, so untrustworthy. I just don't like that.
yeah. That's all
Yeah.
the red flags I have that I could think of. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah, maybe somewhere along the line we can do a refresher, but because there's so many. But I think we covered a lot of really important ones.
Yeah. And if there's anyone listening who has one that we didn't think of that is a
Yeah,
critical one, I would love to hear it.
please, for sure.
I know we're still young as podcasters and we don't have a lot of people commenting or anything like that, but feel free to reach out. I get a couple of text messages from friends and stuff who've listened and they give us feedback. It's usually positive.
Yeah.
So, feel free to shoot us a message. Anything else you want to say before we close up?
Just thank you for listening, and we'll do green flags in our next episode, and it'll be a lot more positive, I guess. And hope everyone's doing well, and I wish everyone a happy 2026.
All right. Thanks, everybody.